Today we have the pleasure of having three experts with us. Bob Gehr, principal of R.S.Means Company, Dave Snedeker, president of eTakeoff, Michael Brown, founder and president of 4Clicks Solutions. Just as we get started, please note that we'd like you to ask questions at any time, but please mute your phones. You can also ask questions through the chat session. And with that said, please let me introduce Bob Gehr with R.S.Means. Bob?
Thank you, Peter, and good afternoon or good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to participate in these webinars. 4Clicks Solutions has been a value partner of R.S.Means, the reseller of our data inside their estimating system, but more importantly, from a personal perspective, they're a value partner for my business group in job order contracting. And so we've had a wonderful working relationship for 7 years and look forward to continuing that. We firmly believe that the 4Click software is the strongest and functionally operational system in the market today, bar none. And I think when you see Dave's presentation on eTakeoffs, I think that will be only further solidified with the value that eTakeoffs provides to the strong estimating and project management software that's 4Clicks. So I appreciate participate. And I'll pass it on to Dave Snedeker on the visual takeoff. Thank you.
I'm here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Michael or Peter, you want to pass me the baton?
Yep, I'll pass you the baton.
And okay, perfect. Great. Well, thanks, everybody, for showing up today. It's always nice, as Bob said, to work with 4Clicks with Michael and Peter. Great partner of ours. We enjoy working with them very much. We're going to talk a little bit about visual estimating, and our part of it, eTakeoff, is the actual takeoff process, where you get drawings from whatever source you get them from. You can load them into eTakeoff. You can save the projects right in eTakeoff. Everything's saved for you automatically. And then you can do simple trace on the drawing and create a visual track of what you're doing, as well as you're tracing and measuring by pointing and clicking your mouse. You get to have the ability to have the program automatically build assembly items for you. If you're doing walls, for example, you could measure a wall, have a wall assembly behind that simple point and click measurement, and it could calculate all sorts of stuff for you. Like if you're doing metal studs, it could calculate track and studs and drywall and whatever. I mean, it's really a really powerful system that's just as easy as, like it says here, simply trace by pointing and clicking. You can, like it says, you can switch between multiple monitors. We have customers that are doing 2, 4, 6 monitors. It's unbelievable these days how productive you can be with multiple monitors. I currently have 2 24-inch monitors, and it's more than twice the productivity of one monitor. You can open up multiple drawings simultaneously, have them on different monitors. You can annotate drawings on other monitors. It's very, very powerful tools you have. Measurements, as you're taking them, like it says here, measurements in infinite variety of colors, so you can separate different types of materials or different wall heights or whatever you want to do. Length measurements can be different colors. You got point to point. You got square foot measurements. If you're doing flooring or roofing, or you're doing even building elevations with stone, stucco, or paint. You can color those. The fill patterns and colors are infinite. So you can, most customers will set up a standard. That way when they look at the drawing, they know exactly that color and that pattern is this material, and this other color and another pattern is a different material. And they know visually, instantly, what the drawing is telling them after they've done their measurements. And again, you can combine and total measurements specifically across multiple drawings within a project. So it doesn't matter what drawing I'm on. I can measure across all drawings, have all the measurements from all the drawings be totaled, listed, combined, and you can apply formulas to them to calculate other pieces and parts that you might need. When you're done, you can transfer your quantities very accurately to the 4Clicks Project Estimator, which Michael will get into at a later time here. And let's see. Sorry, I don't use WebEx, so I've got to look around quickly to see how to change slides. So, okay. Industry-leading features. We have what's called extensions. We've kind of recently not renamed our extensions, but we kind of give them a label. An extension is like an assembly, but it's per measurement. So what we do is we allow you to extend the measured quantity, like length of a wall, for example. You point and click, and all you can do is measure the length on the drawing, but you can extend that with an extension by adding the height of that wall. If I'm doing drywall, the extension would allow me to say, okay, that wall is 12, 18, 22 feet high, and I'm going to put drywall on both sides. So it's kind of like a mini assembly in the measurement itself. And then our quantity worksheet is where we have what we call project assemblies, where you can take all the calculated quantities from your measurement assemblies and total them up and apply other formulas and add more assembly items to calculate other things. We also have, which is a very, very, very powerful tool, is our pattern search, which allows you to search for a specific pattern or symbol on a drawing, and the program will show you the results of it searching for that, and you can visually, very quickly tell the program, yeah, this one works, this one doesn't, and it'll automatically count them for you when you tell it to. Very, very powerful product. That is getting very wide and rave reviews from our customers, saving them lots and lots of time. Okay, so here's an example of an extension. We've measured the length of a wall here, and then what we've done is this might be used for maybe painting, for example. So I could measure the length. I'd enter the height here. So this is a little pop-up window. So when I finish my measurement, I can hit a shortcut key on my keyboard. The letter X, for example, will bring up this window, which is this extension has been assigned to this measurement. Type in the height of the wall, how many sides I'm going to paint. I can subtract doors. So this is what this is. There's one door in that wall that we've measured, and that door is about approximately 20 square feet, which you can put in whatever you want. And there's one window that's like right next to the door, and that is about 8 square feet. And the total of all of that is 983.25 square feet, which is the length times the height times 2 minus our 2 doors at each, our door and our window. So that's what you get. Now this total can be then pushed into that quantity worksheet that we were talking about a minute ago. You can build predefined ones. This extension has data open, so height would be blank when I open it up, sides would be blank, doors would be blank. I might pre-fill in the square foot for the door and the window potentially, but I could type those in. You could also build assemblies, extension, that have pre-designed items already built in. So I could say, I want an extension that's an 18-foot high wall with 2 sides, and we could leave out that, and all I have to do is measure it, and I don't have to enter any data into the extension. It just calculates 18-foot high wall with 2 sides, and you don't do anything but measure it, and it automatically calculates it. So very powerful processes here. Here's another really complex extension where I'm measuring a concrete column, and we put in multiple variables with even drop-down lists in the extension to choose, what kind of rebar it is and what kind of stirrup you've got, and it calculates all sorts of stuff. Like you get the concrete volume, and I mean this was built by one of my resellers, and it's so powerful that you might not even see. There might be another 50 items that's not visible here that are just calculating based on what you've entered here. So very, very powerful stuff. Again, all the information in here then gets passed along to the quantity worksheet and totaling for everything you've measured and calculated on the project. And then quantity worksheet, this is where that column, right, that column that was measured here, the data from this extension gets pushed into the worksheet wherever it's supposed to go. The stirrups, the vertical rebar, all that information gets passed along here so that it's calculated, and there's only one measurement here. That's a measurement icon, so there's one measurement assigned to this item. If there was 5 measurements assigned to this item, it would be totaling all the quantities that were calculated out of those 5 measurements, which, you could have 5 different columns that you have to measure, again, with the calculations here, and then passed along right into your worksheet. And then this worksheet then can go, the data from here can go right into your 4Clicks estimator. Pattern search, for example, here's an example. We search for a light fixture B, for example. We did a pattern. We drew a box around one of these Bs next to the light fixture. The program searched for it and gave me a review window where I can look at all the results. The window shows which ones are selected. They're green. Here they're green. You can view them on the drawing. You can view them in here. And once you've got everything selected here, I might go back and it didn't automatically select these. It found these Bs, for example, but it didn't automatically select them because I only had a certain percentage I wanted it to select automatically. Then I'll manually choose the other ones I want. So I could click here, here, and here, and select all those. And when I save it, it's going to automatically put a red box right next to it and assign it to fixture or FXB, and it would automatically be counted in the system and pushed into that worksheet, for example. In this worksheet, if I was working on electrical, that count would automatically come in here as a measurement and be totaled and assigned to the right place when I click Save here. So very powerful stuff. This whole process, I probably show this every day when I'm doing demonstrations for potential customers. And this drawing here, to find that B, probably takes about maybe 8, 9, or 10 seconds to actually search the entire drawing and give me this review window with everything it found. Much, much, much faster than you doing it manually and zooming in and trying to find everywhere that light fixture is. So very powerful, very, very productive, saves lots and lots of time.
And you can also save that, right, Dave? So if I come back next week, the drawing changed or something, or I didn't find a couple of them, I know where I was on that quantity count.
Oh, right. The count is automatically saved. When I click Save here, we're going to have a red box on the drawing next to each of the ones we saved, and that count is going to be stored in my quantity worksheet wherever I told it I want to keep track of light fixtures.
Right.
Yeah, so I come back here and it's, I close the program out, come back tomorrow. All of the, all the fixtures that were counted have a little red square next to them. I can select them and I can find them. I can see them visually, and I can find where they are in my worksheet and see how many I have. And absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Well, here's another thing we're doing, by the way. This is really some really cool stuff we're doing. We're upgrading this pattern search function here in the next couple months. One is, you find something, but some of these might have, an extra little number by, next to the B. So it might be B1 or B2 or whatever. You can, in the new version, I could actually select this box and just drag it open, and it'll open this box up a little bit more and research for everything that's the expanded size. So then I can expand my search right from within my review window. We're also going to save the review. So if you wanted to go back and see what the review results were, you don't have to search again. We'll bring up the review window for you so you can review it as it was searched originally. That's a real powerful tool as well. Anyway, also, here's another thing. Maybe these Ds might be another type of fixture. Well, it found it here. So instead of saving and just searching again for the Ds, I can actually save and continue. When I save and continue, all of the Bs that I've selected will disappear from the review window. They'll be counted on the drawing, and it'll leave all the rest of the review here for me to look at. So I could select Ds and say, change this to fixture D, and then count the Ds all within one search. I don't have to do multiple searches because it finds a lot of different things here that might be applicable to what you're looking for as in a B or a or a C or a D or whatever. So I can do multiple counts with one search and not have to go research again. So that's another tool. That's currently available now in the tool. Very, very powerful. Okay. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. And Michael, it's back to you.
All right. Thank you so kindly.
You bet.
And thank you to Bob and Dave for coming, as well as all of you guys. So what we're going to do now is just going to bring it into real world and kind of show you how the product works. Our little background is we kind of got started in a program called SABER, Job Order Contracting. Been working with R.S.Means, since about 1980. I know that's about the same time that Bob was getting out there and starting to sell the DoD, Department of Defense, on job order contracting and SABER. And as Bob said, we've got great relationships with both. What we want to do is leverage the technology of each of them and put it in front of you. So what I thought I'd do is go ahead and just share my desktop and open up the estimator. So what you're seeing right now is multiple users can be in the same product at the same time using the RSMeans data as well as eTakeoff. So on a particular project that might have different disciplines, concrete, structural finishes, computer flooring, you can have different estimators working together harmoniously. I know we've got a couple of JOC estimators on the phone right now. What's really nice is I can copy and paste. There's absolutely no reason when you estimate to have to estimate the same project that you might have done a month ago or a year ago or a couple of years ago, when you can copy and paste the entire project, all of the estimates, some of the estimates or some of the line items. So what we wanted to do, since it's the first time some of you are seeing it now, is just make this real simple. For IPD, Integrated Project Delivery, we support different types of contract vehicles. So if you're an owner and you've got multiple contractors working for you, small purchases, large purchases, maybe you have a JOC contract, you can track all those individual projects. If you're a contractor and you work for multiple owners, you can track those, or if you have different people working with you. I'm just going to do a very quick little project right now, and all I'm going to do is remodel an office. So what I'm going to do is create a new project. These are things called totaling components, and what that basically means, that's the markups that are placed on a project. So we've all heard of things like labor burden, overhead, profit, bonding. On job order contracting, those are usually standardized. So what I want to do is just remodel an office. And here I'll kind of just let you know that I'm going to do an office that's 20 by 20, okay? Once I've built this project, anybody that can log into the system can immediately start helping me, but I'm just going to open up that particular project by double-clicking on it. And you can see I can now come to what's called the estimate side. I've got general salient information over here about the project, what contract it is, how I'm going to multiply the markups for the city cost index from RSMeans, which, by the way, localizes every single city within the United States, probably has a city cost index, including Boston, right, Bob?
That is correct.
Yeah, about 800
Boston.
of them. Including Boston. And Canada is what I meant, I'm sorry, including Canada. So what we're going to get...
How about 935?
900, yeah, there's a bunch of them. And what I like about that is that lets another company that spends tens of thousands of hours a year to define what the standardization is for construction, that's been doing it for a very, very long time, that will go out there and do all that back-end work for me. So if I'm looking for a plug number, that's great. If I'm in a JOC, that's probably the only price I'm going to use. Then we can do things as track customers and locations and project milestones and document management. But we'll keep it real simple right now, and we're going to open up what's called the 2012 RSMeans facilities. I can have a cadre of multiple price books. I can have my own book. I can have different types of IDIQ books. I can have labor rates, or I can have the wonderful RSMeans databases. So when I open up the facilities book, if you guys have never used an RSMeans electronic software package but you use the books, most of the people use what's called the index in the back of the book. So what's nice is I can immediately click on this icon, and there's my index. What do I like about the index? I don't have to understand what's called CSI, which is the Construction Specification Index, that breaks down all of these line items into 46 different functional categories. Because if I open up one of them, there's some more depth to it. If I open up that, there's some more depth to that, and there's more depth. I really don't want to find sheetrock by having to call it gypsum board, by having to drill down this way. However, if that's how you want to do it, it certainly works that way. What we're going to do is we're going to do a pretty simple estimate. We're going to try to find a dumpster. So I just type in the word DUMPS. It identifies a dumpster, and when I double-click on it, what it's going to do is it's going to reset the book to that particular section. So with one key, I brought up the index, typed in the word dumpster, found the dumpster. If I like the dumpster and I know I need a 10 cubic yards, I can highlight it, read the full description down here, identify the details of the item, such as the unit of measure, what the daily output is, what the cost is, different things like that. I can just double-click on it. And if this job is going to take me a week, I'll just put in a week. I've got to kind of think about what I'm going to do on this job, and I'm going to get rid of a ceiling, get rid of some carpet, get rid of some cove base, maybe do some final cleaning. I'm going to have about 9 or 10 or 11 tasks. But I need to haul off the debris that's in the room to the dumpster. So I know that I'm about 50 feet away from it, just double-click, and I can just say that I've got 10 cubic yards worth of debris. Some people, including a couple people on this phone, are using R.S.Means a lot, and they understand CSI. So I'll show you the third way to find a line item. First was the index. Second is the navigation tree that will let you drill down through division. The third is just by typing in the number. So I can type in 09, and what that did is that took me from Chapter 1, Division 1 that I was in, to Division 2 to find the dumpster. Now I'm in the 9th chapter, Division 9 for finishes. And the reason I do that is R.S.Means has placed all the demolition line items at the beginning of each section of the CSI breakdown. But now I know that I have something in common, and what I have in common is I have the ability to tag multiple line items and put them in my estimate at one time. So I can look at this item right here for the suspended ceiling. I can see the two common laborers do it. They do about 1,200 square feet in a day, an 8-hour day, see what my costs are. I can put a check mark next to this. And why am I doing that? Well, what I want to do is I want to build an estimate very quickly, and kind of like Dave said about extensions and assemblies, I'm going to estimate with that same kind of method right here. So I'm going to tag my carpet, I'm going to tag my cove base corners. Then I'm going to go back to my index, and I'm going to find something called final cleaning. Now, final cleaning can be done two ways. One is every day, and one is at the end of the job. And we'll notice it has a unit of measure here of MSF, which is 1,000 square feet. I'm going to put a check mark next to that. I'm going to go back to my index, and I'm going to type in suspended ceiling, and I'm going to go to the complete suspended ceiling. Now, what that's done is that's shown me all the different types of suspended ceilings that are complete. So that's going to include your system itself plus the tiles itself. I've got fiberglass, I have mineral fiber, and I have tegular. I'm going to go ahead with the tegular. Now, R.S.Means does a great job on identifying what you normally would expect to install that. And then we have what are called modifiers. And what a modifier does is it either adds to the value of that parent line item or takes away from it. And there's a modifier position right below here that I'm highlighting right now that says for rooms under 500 square feet, add. And you can see right here that that's a modifier that says, okay, we're going to need to add a little bit of labor to a job that's smaller than 500 square feet because the contractor needs to at least have 500 square feet to get to the labor that's included on the 389. So it's important as an owner as well as a contractor that I use the appropriate modifiers. And one thing that sets us a little bit different than our competition is we place all of those modifiers directly in front of you, so that you can just estimate. And we'll see it in just a second when what we get is the carpet. So now I'm going to come here and I'm going to search for what's called carpet, space nylon. I have different types of size. I've got 26 ounce, I have 28 ounce, and I have 32. I'm going to look at my drawings and my specs real quick and know that I have 28. You'll see I have additional modifiers right here. And I have one for less than a full row, approximately 1,500 square feet. There's a modifier for additional cost. Why? Because if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or a carpet manufacturer, you can't buy 400 square feet of carpet for the same price as somebody can buy a roll. So I'm going to put the appropriate modifiers on here. My room's not less than 12 feet. Why would I use that? If I had to cut the carpet twice, or it's not a large open area, why would I get a discount for that? Well, I would, because I'm not having to touch the carpet as much. I'm able to kick the roll down and put it in real quick. I'm going to tag a couple more line items right here, and I'm going to go back to my index. So I'm just kind of walking through what I believe I need for my estimate, and now I've got these line items in here. want to show you is what I have the ability as an estimator without a set of drawings, because in this particular case I knew it was one room that was 20 by 20. I'm going to go ahead and build this estimate. You saw that I found the dumpster, put it in my estimate with a quantity of 1. I found the hauling and put it in a quantity of 1. I could have done the same thing for these other 14 line items. Or just as what Dave has in the Premier product, I can actually bring these line items into my estimate by doing some pretty neat things. It automatically knows that I've got some line items that are MSF, square feet, and square yards. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do the math right here, 20 by 20. And when I do that, it's going to go ahead and populate these 10 line items into my estimate, and it's automatically going to convert them to the proper quantity because it knows the association between a square foot, a square yard, and an MSF. So those items are now in my estimate. It knows I need linear foot. What am I going to do? I'm just going to say 20 plus 20 plus 20 with my calculator, and that's now in my estimate in the 4 corners. So what I was able to do the same way I'm going to show you in eTakeoff, if I didn't have a set of drawings or it was that small of a job, I've now built a complete estimate about that quick. And what you'll notice is I didn't put in 0.4 MSF. I put in 400 square feet, but the system actually converts it to what the unit of measure is in the book. Same thing down here for the carpet and the square yards. So now that I have an estimate that's built like that, that's about how simple it is to build an estimate with the RSMeans database. How can I report on that estimate? I simply save it and put a check mark over here, and I click on the icon for reports. I can go to a PDF, and I'm going to go ahead and show you something that's absolutely pretty neat, which is called associating the construction specifications with this particular estimate as well. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to match up my construction specifications with the estimate that I just did for you, and we'll see how that looks. We've automatically got it broken down by divisions. It goes in PDF. You can save it and print it, or you can put it in Excel. Here's my little update right here for my totaling components, where I've got my subtotal, my city cost index. Find a little information about the material, the labor, the equipment. We track green line items, so R.S.Means has identified about 8,000 items that could be lead or lean. You can identify those within your estimate and say, hey, I'm not doing lead or lean this time, or maybe some items are. And what it does is it gives you a real nice handle on your estimate, kind of like on the tracing. You can identify which in the estimate, which items are lead or green. But now I have an estimate with the line item number. You can see I have my math right here, as well as the conversion to let me know how it got to 400 square feet when it was MSF. R.S.Means has what are called crews, or they have laborers that actually work and tradespeople. This is identifying a crew of A05. It says the quantity, the material, labor, and equipment. That's how an estimate will look. And then what's real neat is it actually looked at my construction specifications for me automatically. And it says, hey, you're going to do demo, ceilings, cove base, vinyl base, flooring, and carpeting. So as a result of that, I've actually got a list of all my specs right here. One better than that, we can actually put together a complete spec package that will actually define all the specs so the owner can use it for his QA/QC, contractor can use it for his internal, or pass it on to the subcontractors. So that's the first way that I do an estimate. The second way that we do estimates is we copy and paste. So I want to show you the second way that an estimate can be created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this estimate, and I'm going to call this room C, and I'm going to say that this room is 32 by 12, okay? So what I'm doing with that is I'm actually going to make a copy. I've got multiple estimates within here. I'm not going to reprice it because I know that it comes from the 2012 data, and I've got a second estimate here. So many times after I've built a library of estimates, I reuse estimates. I find them, I copy them, I paste them, I requantify them. Let me show you how quickly I can requantify this estimate. I can tag all of the line items. I can come right here to this handy little icon that says change the global takeoff, and all I'm going to do is say 32 times 12. That's going to handle those 10 square feet line items this quickly for me. It's going to change all the values to 384, okay? Then it's my cubic yards. Here I'll say it's actually 15 cubic yards. Here's my 4 cove base corners. And then here's my 32 plus 32 plus 12 plus 12. There's actually my linear feet. And there's my change to that. So I've taken an estimate that I used just a few minutes ago that you saw and quickly reused it and quickly requantified it. Going to change one thing out for you to show you what we do as estimators is we know you have to change line items out. This is a 10 cubic yard dumpster. I need a 20 cubic yard dumpster. I don't want to delete that item and go find that item. I just simply want to open this item, and I want to take a look at changing this item to a 20 cubic yard dumpster. So it's going to let me swap out from the 10 to a 20, totally reprice that, and I believe I'm done with my second estimate that quick. I hope a couple of you have been to Applebee's, because this is where I try to do what Dave does so well, and that is show you the technology of eTakeoff. What I love about eTakeoff is when I can find a set of drawings and or create my own set of drawings, I can actually go do my measurements directly off those set of drawings. So in this case, I've gone ahead and I've tagged all the things that would come from my drawing that I'm going to do based off my square foot. I'm going to batch modify these, which means I'm going to replace the current quantity on all 9 of those items by using what we call eTakeoff, okay? And you'll see I've opened up eTakeoff. Dave's exactly right. I have to have a project, and I just happen to have a project called Applebee's. Once I have that project for Applebee's, what I'm going to do now is kind of bring that into focus, this little area right here. I need to check my measurement for my scale, and I'm going to say that I can trust a set of drawings, but I definitely wanted to go out there in the field and maybe measure a door or a wall or something and make sure that's 1/4 inch per foot. This is the quantity worksheet that Dave spoke about, and what I'm trying to do right now is grab a value for my carpet. So by selecting Applebee's as the project, ensuring I have the right scale set, and choosing the carpet, I'm going to go ahead and just grab the measurement for this room very quickly. I can point. If I want, I can actually hold and get right there to where I want to go. New measurement's a good thing to do, huh, Dave? So I can point, hold and let go, and then I can just walk myself around. Now you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm actually doing all the corners so I can get my linear foot for cove base as well as my corners as well as my square feet. Once I'm done with that, I can actually assign that by going to Edit Description, and I can say bar area. Now, that quantity worksheet that we spoke about is right here, and as Dave showed you with the column, you can see that things are starting to roll up. I didn't take anything off called seam tape, but there's an extension right here and a variable here that says how much tape you need per linear foot. I didn't take off padding. I didn't take off glue. I can identify whether I need cove base or not. It's actually counted my cove base, linear foot, and my corners for me. So walking around and clicking on it a couple of times brings back this value for me of the carpet right there. And then what I can do is I can go ahead back and return to the estimator and paste that value on each one of those line items. Now what's really nice about that is it's now here, and I hope somebody can see the little E right here for the eTakeoff. If I open this up and I come here a couple of days from now and I want to validate this quantity, I can always drill down directly to that measurement right here, and now by double-clicking on the bar area, I can go directly to that measurement. And as Dave said, I can scan multiple pages, I can have multiple takeoffs, I can do counts, I can do linear foots. They've got a partner that can just do some ridiculous stuff for you. He just builds little quantity worksheets that are just like on steroids, because I can click, as Dave said, I don't know on that column, Dave, how many measurements you clicked on. Maybe there was 15 or 20 on both sides of the column with the arc.
Oh, number of points?
Number of points.
Yeah, not very many.
And not very many, and the amount of detail that was below was ridiculous. Just ridiculous. And I just wanted to kind of keep it simple for you guys today that are first seeing this. This is just something I think we can all understand. That's just carpet. So that kind of concludes what we'd like to do to kind of let you be familiar with what we're talking about. E4Clicks is a tool, again, that can be used by multiple users or a single user. You can have your own database, or certainly we would like you to take a look at the RSMeans database, because that's pretty much localized for your environment. If you're a job order contractor, whether you're an owner or a contractor, then you're probably going to be required to use the RSMeans database. But those days of having to try to get a copy of the half-size drawing or the full-size drawing, Dave, and having to get the highlighter pens, and when you told me that thing took you 8 or 10 seconds to do that trace, that probably could take me hours, if not a half a day to do, and I don't even know that I would be correct. And if I ever got interrupted, it's almost ridiculous, because you have to almost start again with another highlighter, and then by the time you started with yellow and then red, it turns green. It's so very hard to do stuff off of a piece of paper. So the technology of E4Clicks, of RSMeans, and eTakeoff, I hope you can see the great value of that. But Peter, I thought what we do is open it up to some questions.
That sounds great, Michael. Yeah, please, for those of you who have muted your phones, please unmute them and feel free to ask any questions over the phone, or simply type a question into the chat box. I actually have about 4 questions already in the chat box, but let's open it up. Well, while we're waiting, I've got a couple of questions here. Let's see. I guess it's for David. Dave, do you have, or how does eTakeoff provide the extensions? In other words, are there templates that are provided, or how do I get actual extensions and quantity takeoffs?
Well, extensions, we have now released some standard extensions that if you want, well, we can just send them to you. They're actually in our current eTakeoff download on our site. I know that there is this eTakeoff that Michael's using is a special version that Michael distributes, but we can send you a certain number of extensions that we already have, or if you tell me what trade you're in, we could send you certain ones for a certain trade. So we've provided in our current version, at least our version, Michael, we need to talk about getting these new extensions into yours. But we provide about 12 to 15 basic extensions that come free, and you can have them and use them.
Can you see the screen right now?
Yes.
So we've got those right here. Then you can import them, you can edit them, copy them, clone them, share them with your friends.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Here's, I guess, for Michael. Michael, in a JOC program, can I add, or how do I add prices that are not in my price book?
That's a great question. So on the widgets, on the Applebee's project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I need 10 half-inch stainless steel widgets. So what I call that is a non-priced item in the JOC world. So what's nice is I can start in the estimate by simply right-clicking and selecting what I called Insert Custom Line Item. And I'm going to say that number starts with an 09 because it's a finishes item, and it's a half-inch stainless steel widget, okay? And then I'm going to say that I need 10 of them, and they're in each, and my material is $4, and my labor to install it is $16, and I need $2 of equipment. So I can totally identify the item, put a description in here, but what I like about the notes, Peter, is I can say quote 01, and I can say KTR, when, who, what. So now what I have is I can identify the 3 quotes that I went out and got, so that if I ever look at this again, I'll know who I talked to, when I talked to, and what they told me. Because every contractor on the phone right now knows, and I'm sure most owners do, I can't always go with the cheapest quote. Why? Because they might not be reliable, they might not be able to meet my schedule, and I just might not be comfortable with them. So that way, Peter, right there, we can add what's called a non-price item or a unique item that is not inside the RSMeans database. Then what's really nice is we can simply right-click on that, and we can add that to what's called our alternate price book. And our alternate price book is one of those books that are available to you here. Once you open that up, there's a whole list of those kind of line items that you might want to use so that you can remember that item and share that with the rest of your team. Also, with our relationship with R.S.Means, any current JOCWorks or 4Clicks users, we pretty much pester you about the last 2 months of the year and ask you for suggestions on how we can make the book better, and we forward that to the senior engineers at R.S.Means, and they do a wonderful job of at least telling us, hey, we've got our lights on this, we're looking at it, it's a great idea, we're going to do it next year. Or can you give me a little information, or unfortunately we've got that in the book and you missed it, here's the item number, or we don't see ourselves currently at this time adding it. So we'll give you back direct response to any of the input that's given to us that we forward to RSMeans. And we greatly appreciate RSMeans taking the time to do that, and we certainly hope that's a value add to our customers. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you, Michael. I've got one more, and that is, it seems that someone out there is thinking about getting into JOC. And the question is, how long would it take me to learn the software to be competitive on a JOC program?
That's a really good question. If you're an estimator and you have an understanding of RSMeans, I know people that take no more than an hour to understand this concept. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you understand what we're doing here, we have what's called a project. Within a project, we can have multiple estimates. Within an estimate, we have line items. Depending on your contract, Peter, you can have multiple price books. But once I'm in the book, there's only 3 things I need to know. The item that I want, the method that I'm going to use to find it, and the quantity. And as you saw, because I've used the product more than once or twice, I was able to use the index as well as the navigation. We even have what's called a favorites, which is your bookmark. Find items pretty quickly and put them back in my estimate. Usually within about 2 or 3 months, people are in a pretty good place where they built a couple of estimates that this is all second nature to them. We've got some great training material inside here, got some videos, got a quick start, and actually have some training exercises that are available during that learning curve.
Thank you, Michael. Actually, we have one more question. And the question is, does all of the software come together in one package, meaning eTakeoff and 4Clicks? And does the cost data come along with it? And what is the associated pricing?
That's a loaded question. I'll tell you, you have many choices. We have a basic product that would allow you to use the reader in eTakeoff that would let you to take a measurement, use an RSMeans database, and use what's called our basic version of our software. You can get started for about $849 a year. We have a professional version that's geared towards contractors that usually uses the RSMeans facilities, the Pro version, and a free seat of eTakeoff. Every version we have, we've embedded eTakeoff. Based on the version of eTakeoff, of E4Clicks would be based on the version of eTakeoff that you'll get. So about $23.25 for contractors. Owners is about $2,700 because they get what's called the Premier version. And then that can change, Peter, based on a couple of different things. What's the difference between basic and pro? I've got a job right here. If I want to, I could track the entire milestones, everything going on, including site visits, who it was awarded to, if it was a multiple award, how much I've invoiced. I can do square foot estimating. I can track change orders, warranty period, design, proposal. I can share it with my team. I can do document management. So if you find yourself managing a JOC program and estimating is only 20% of the work, the reason that E4Clicks was created was to let you work together with your team harmoniously to actually track all the other information, be able to get to the emails and everything. So it would be your choice on that. $849 low end, about $2,700 high end for the owner. Per year, everything's included.
Great. Thanks again, Michael.
You're welcome.
Michael, if you could, just go to the slide with our contact information. And I'd like to remind everyone that we did record the session, and it will be available on the 4Clicks website. However, if there's something in this webcast that we didn't cover, please feel free to email Bob Gare at R.S.Means, or David with eTakeoff, or of course Michael with 4Clicks. Before we close today's session, I just want to again ask if there are any other questions from the audience.
Quiet audience.
Well, again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this afternoon, and we look forward to talking with you in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you very kindly, everybody.
Thank you. This is David with eTakeoff. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you.